And a welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We appreciate you being here this morning and every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Of course, today we are a little bit back, and I apologize. The annoying moment of the week will definitely be clear this week, but I want to let y'all know that so the laptop that I have used that's really not that old, that I do so much work on and bring you the show from all over the world. We, have been all over the place with this laptop and it decided to stop working. I took Friday off and like actually took the day off. I actually just relaxed and hung out on Friday. And in taking the day off on Friday, I didn't use my laptop. Now I'd used my laptop on Thursday and thank God it was working and all was good. And then on Friday, the laptop, I didn't know that it wasn't working because obviously I was staying away from it. So when I went back to access it on Saturday and I had left it completely alone, it just stopped working. And it wasn't working yesterday. So, long story short, I had to go get a new laptop. Plus, I had to buy a desktop for the studio. So, I had to buy two. My plan was to buy a desktop, not a laptop. I had to buy both. And then last night, I spent over 4 hours recreating this feed for you. And then, after recreating everything last night, I was sitting here this morning with Murph because he couldn't hear me, things couldn't be seen, things are too big or too small. So I appreciate the fact that you've been patient with us today because in no way, shape, or form did I intend to make you wait. And of course, I appreciate everyone for being here. This has been a journey last night, but it's not cancer, it's not AIDS, it's not a flood, and we will pray for those people in a moment. So, as much as this has been a hassle, and not even a hassle, as much as this has been an annoying situation, it's nothing like real world problems. So I want to thank God for helping me to find really good people. Shout out to Marv and Lexi from Best Buy on Erie Boulevard. And a shout out to Zach that's there as well. And I thank you all for being here this morning. And I appreciate your patience. With that being said, we are proudly here for you on youtube.com and facebook.com, both /Wake Up Call DT, and on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com. However, you're connected with the show, we're happy that you're with us Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And like I said, youtube.com /Wake Up Call DT, facebook.com /Wake Up Call DT, and on Wake Up Call dt.podbean.com. So, however, you're connected, thanks for being connected with us. We appreciate you so very much. And Murph, of course, is with us here on a Murph Monday inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, Great Lakes Honda City, coming to you on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. You can get to them Monday through Saturday for sales and service. And of course, you can get a sneak peek of everything that they have to offer you on the lot by going to greatlakeshondacity.com. That is greatlakeshondacity.com. So make sure you do that. Murph, good morning. Good morning, Murph.
Good morning, my friend. It was an eventful start to the morning. The new computer was not cooperating. So I'm glad we got that all sorted out. I'm glad we're, good to go. And I'm sure our loyal listeners and fans are understanding of some technological issues that were out of our control.
Yeah, no, absolutely. This was definitely. Listen, good things are going to come from it. There's a reason why God did it. There's a reason why this was allowed to happen, right? So there's a purpose, there's a rhyme, there's a reason, and I know that good things are going to come out of this. Obviously, I'm grateful that this didn't happen a couple weeks from now when I have ACC and AAC kickoff simultaneously, both in Charlotte. So if this happened in the middle of me interviewing, let me think now, let me get it right. Me interviewing, I think it's 31 teams, then that would not have been a good moment. And, it happened over the weekend. It happened during a holiday weekend. It happened during holiday sales. And I actually got both computers for less than the price than one of them was going to end up costing me. So I can't be mad about that in any stretch of the imagination. So we'll get to know these things. We'll get to figure out some of these pieces, but we are obviously here, as we always are, inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios to have some fun. So Murph and I have a bunch of topics to get into. We're going to jump right into it as you've been patient with us. First topic I want to get into with Murph this morning has to do with yet another change in Major League Baseball when it comes to sending somebody out. Now, the last place Washington Nationals, who are in the same division as Murph's Mets, the NL East, have decided to fire their president of baseball operations, Mike Rizzo, and manager Dave Martinez. Martinez marks, I believe, the fourth manager that has been fired this season of 30 Major League Baseball franchises, and Rizzo, the first president of baseball operations to be fired during the 2025 Major League Baseball season. Rizzo 64, Martinez is 60. They won a World Series with the Nationals in 2019, and this team since then has not been great. Right now, the Nationals at the time of the firing, 37 and 53, bottom of the National League East after being swept by the Boston Red Sox over the holiday weekend. Washington hasn't finished higher than fourth out of fifth in the division since winning the World Series. So winning it in 2019 and then being no higher than fourth of five teams in the National League since then. So the message that we got here, principal owner Mark Lerner said, quote, "On behalf of our family and the Washington Nationals organization, I first and foremost want to thank Mike and Davey for their contribution to our franchise and city. Our family is eternally grateful for their years of dedication to the organization, including their roles in bringing a World Series trophy to Washington, D.C. While we are appreciative of their past successes, the on-field performance has not been where we or our fans expect it to be. This is a pivotal time for our club, and we believe a fresh approach and new energy is the best course of action for our team moving forward." End quote. Before I go anywhere else, Murph, I want to let it be known that I've read a lot of these over the years, and they come off the same when a team fires a manager or a coach or a GM or whatever it may be. The on behalf of the family, first and foremost, want to thank these people for their contributions and that our family is eternally grateful. That always seems to be the thing, right? And it's like you're you're
Mm-hmm.
you're firing these people. You don't want them in your building anymore, and it always starts off on behalf of my family to yours. We thank you. Your contributions have been many and great, and we really wish you the best in your future endeavors. However, so I just want to get your thoughts on kind of how these press releases all seem to sound the same.
I mean, it's what it sounds like. It's what it has to sound like to the public. That's just the way it is. It doesn't matter who's getting fired. It doesn't matter what their successes or failures have been with an organization. That's just the way it comes off. It's always been that way. It's always gonna be that way because especially in the cases of Mike Rizzo and Dave Martinez, they won a World Series very early on in their tenure, and then they traded arguably the best player in the history of the franchise
Yeah.
away. They weren't ready to win yet. I mean, I'll get into this in a minute, but they were not ready to win yet. But how this came off is about how you would expect it to come off. That's the way it happened. That's the way it is in public, right? You're gonna thank them for everything and yada yada, and
Yeah.
that's the way it is. Some of them seem genuine, some of them don't. This one seemed genuine because of the fact that those two guys brought the one and only championship to DC.
Hmm. Yeah, and like you said, I mean, there was a time when the Washington Nationals had Bryce Harper. There was a time where they also had Steven Strasburg, and the hope of Steven Strasburg obviously being healthy and being on the mound. And there was a time where the Washington Nationals had a AAA ball club in Syracuse, New York, before they were the Syracuse Mets. They were the Syracuse Chiefs, and the Syracuse Chiefs were the Blue Jays partner in AAA for I think 31 or 32 years before they went to the Washington Nationals for a little while. So Bryce Harper and Steven Strasburg both came through here. Now, I do want to make a note here. Mike DiBartolo, the club's senior vice president and assistant general manager, was named interim GM on Sunday night, yesterday. DiBartolo will oversee all aspects of baseball operations, including the Major League Baseball draft. So, something fun to get into right away. Mike DiBartolo, club's senior VP and assistant GM. It's like, hey, guess what? You're the interim GM now, and you're overseeing the draft and all aspects of baseball operations. Now, an announcement will be made on the interim manager on Monday, a day before the club begins a series against the St. Louis Cardinals. So we got to stay tuned for that today as DiBartolo becomes the interim GM. Now they're looking to see who they're going to put in the manager spot. Sometimes they, take the third base coach or something like that, shift guys over. Now Rizzo has been the top decision maker in Washington since 2013. Martinez has been on board since 2018. Under Rizzo's leadership, the team made the postseason 4 times in 2014, 16, 17, and 19. The latter season was Martinez's lone playoff appearance. So Rizzo's been a part of a lot of their success, and unfortunately, that "what have you done for me lately" 6 years later, he's been let go. Lerner said, when
Mm-hmm.
our family assumed control of the team nearly 20 years ago, Mike was the first hire we made. And speaking of Rizzo, over 2 decades he was with us as we went from a fledgling team in a city to World Series champion. Mike helped make us who we are as an organization, and we're so thankful to him for his hard work and dedication, not just on the field and in the front office, but in the community as well. End quote. Now the Nationals are in the midst of a rebuild, and they have all stars James Wood and Mackenzie Gore. Washington has the second youngest group of hitters in Major League Baseball and the sixth youngest pitching staff. The team has lost 11 straight games in a stretch dating back to last month, and during a 2-10 run in June, Washington averaged just 2.5 runs a game. Since June 1st, the Nationals have scored 1 run or been shut out 7 times. In Sunday's 6-4 loss to Boston, they left 15 runners on base. Now, the team made minor moves. They signed free agent Josh Bell, who was with the Diamondbacks last season, for a cup of coffee, and Mike Soroka, and they traded for first baseman Nathaniel Lowe and re-signed closer Kyle Finnegan. Now the team is looking to see what their next step is going to be. So ultimately here, a very young team, a struggling team, and a team that is trying to maybe lean on James Wood and Mackenzie Gore. Any thoughts, Murph?
Yeah, I kind of have a lot to say about this, and I'll try to keep it as brief as I can because I know we have a lot to talk about today. That organization over the last 7 years, 6, 7 years since they, well, 5, 6 years since they won that World Series. Yes, the team has not been good. They traded away Juan Soto. They let Anthony Rendon walk. Steven Strasburg's body broke down. Patrick Corbin was a shell of himself after that World Series. Those are all things that are beyond their control. Mike Rizzo is an excellent executive. It will not take him long to find another job. I'd love to see the Mets hire him. Granted, he'd be under David Stearns, but I think he'll go somewhere to be the top guy. He will be somebody's president of baseball operations at some point, either before the end of this season or at the start of next or during the offseason. Mark my words on that. He is an excellent general manager. He was an excellent general manager. He's an excellent president of baseball operations. He's got a great eye for talent. He did a phenomenal job with the Juan Soto trade. And that's something, and I know we've talked about this before, but that is something that is so incredibly difficult
Yeah.
to win a trade where you trade away a superstar and get back prospects.
Yeah.
That is such a difficult thing to do. But they've already got 2 All-Stars. They've got a borderline All-Star in C.J. Abrams. And they brought in a couple other pieces in that deal. And traded away Juan Soto in the process. Now, Juan Soto went on to sign a $700 million contract and be traded again.
Yeah.
The Padres didn't do so good when they traded him away. They did okay. They got back Michael King, who's been pretty good for them. And they got out of a bad contract in Trent Grisham. But what Mike Rizzo was able to do with that group of guys for Juan Soto was really good and really impressive. So he will find another job. He's got a good eye for talent. The Nationals have drafted well. You know, guy like Dylan Cruz, who was great at LSU, has been in the minor leagues and not so great since he got to the major leagues. I think they sent him back down earlier this year. He'll figure it out. James Wood wasn't great in the very beginning either, nor was Mackenzie Gore. Mackenzie Gore still had he's only breaking out this year. He's the best strikeout pitcher in the National League so far this year. And yes, that includes Paul Skeens. So looking at where they're at, it is unfortunate that it had to come to this. I understand it because of the timing. You needed some sort of change to, try to bring this team along because it's been 5.5 years
Yeah.
since that World Series. Something's got to give. Dave Martinez again will get another job, whether it's a manager or a bench coach or something. He will get another job in somebody else's dugout at some point in the next 6 months.
Yeah.
So, those two guys are great baseball guys. Not too worried about them. I don't know what they're going to do as far as manager and GM, whether the interim guys get the full-time job. And that's why I always think it's not the best idea to fire somebody in season, especially a general manager, because they're going to make decisions at the trade deadline. I mean, if you look at this Nationals team going into the deadline, just in terms of guys that they can move, looking up and down their roster, there's some guys that would be rentals to some teams. I mean, you got like a Nathaniel Lowe, you got Josh Bell, Ahmed Rosario you can move off of. Pitching wise, you can maybe look at trading Jake Irvin or Trevor Williams or Michael Soroka.
Yeah.
Kyle Finnegan, I'm sure, will be a hot commodity. But I mean, you're obviously not trading Mackenzie Gore. You're obviously not trading James Wood. You're obviously not trading CJ Abrams. You're probably not going to trade Luis Garcia because he's one of your better all-around hitters or one of your better contact guys. I don't know what they're going to do. They don't really have a ton of impact talent that they can move going into the trade deadline.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see what they end up doing, but we'll see. I'm a Rizzo fan. I've thought he's been great. I'd love to see the Mets bring him in, but I don't know if he's going to want to work under somebody. If he does, that's great. I'd love to have him be the general manager under David Stearns.
Yeah. I mean, listen, it's to go to your point of letting somebody go during the season. Papa Joe is starkly against this, and I am
Depends on
not
the
a.
situation.
Yeah. I mean, listen,
That wasn't a good one.
if somebody's in a situation where they're clearly, there's a problem, there's an issue, there's uh, there's a lack of let's say somebody's on a team and it's become abusive, it's become
Urban
nefarious in
Meyer with the
nature.
Jaguars.
Right.
That's a prime example.
What'd you say?
Urban Meyer with the Jaguars.
Yeah, I mean, like in Urban
Or
Meyer's
Joe
case,
Girardi with the Phillies.
right? Like Urban Meyer was in a place where he obviously had focus on other things, and we'll call them extracurriculars, and he was not really seemingly focused on the team, right? So, and when I interviewed him, he seemed like he was there but not there. So, from sitting in that press conference, it kind of just felt like he wasn't maybe 100% in tune or committed. Maybe he was, who knows? But then I heard more about it afterwards from players that were in the locker room, and it sounded worse than even what I saw. So, ultimately, there are times where it's just not good. It's morally not good. It's abusive. It's negative in nature. There's a lack of communication. So, in those cases, you understand like some changes have to happen. But there's other times where you look at it and you say, you know what, in the middle, in the middle of a season, was this really the right thing to do if none of those other things were in play? If it wasn't about poor communication, if it wasn't about abusive nature, if there wasn't anything that was derogatory, it wasn't a bad work environment, so to speak, right? Because once you kind of lose the room, it's hard to get it back. But sometimes it's a fresh start, sometimes it's a fresh perspective. Sometimes it's the same person, different message. Sometimes it's a different person, different message. So I think that in these cases of the managers being fired during the season, the Baltimore Orioles, that might come back and bite them in the butt because they are a team that is in first or second place of the American League East these last few years, right? And we're the number one team in the playoffs on the American League side last year. So when you look at Baltimore and Brandon Hyde, that one kind of feels wrong or ill-timed. And then you look at some of these other ones that have happened and you say, okay, I mean, you look at the Colorado Rockies and what happened with them. I mean, Bud
That
Black,
one made sense. They
right.
had won 9 games out of their first 50.
Right. And Bud Black, also to make a note of this and to let people know kind of where things are at with this Colorado Rockies team is keep in mind, folks, the Colorado Rockies are in a place right now where their best manager historically is Bud Black, and he has over 100 more losses than wins. So they've never had a manager in their franchise in decades of being out there in Major League Baseball that has ever had a winning record when we look at these managers, and the winningest one is 100 plus losses above his wins. So Bud Black, for as much as things weren't going in a good direction, it's never really gone in a good direction for Colorado outside of certain pieces of time. And then Derek Shelton with the Pittsburgh Pirates, you say, okay, well, you fire your manager. The question is, what are you going to do? The trade deadline's July 31st at 6 p.m. Eastern time. Are you going to build a team around Paul Skeens?
Wait, 6? What happened to 4?
6 p.m. Eastern time. Yes, sir.
It was always 4 p.m.
They've made things
Oh
later now,
man.
Murph. They're
You know
later.
what? But you know what it is? Actually, wait a minute. What day of the week is that? What day of
July.
the week is that this year?
Well, what's today? Today is the what? Today's the 7th. So you do 7, 14, 21, 28.
Uh,
So it's Thursday.
no, I'll be in Chicago.
It's a Thursday.
I'll be at the National. I'll be doing that. I'll probably maybe have it on my. I'll tell Edub I'm putting it on my computer till the deadline and while we're at the show. Sorry, buddy.
Well,
I'd say I am the type of person that would, before I had like a full time job, when I was working with my dad during the summers, I would tell him, okay, July 31st, day of the trade deadline. I'm leaving at noon. I'm going home. I'm having lunch. I am parked on the couch till 4 p.m. till the
yeah.
trade deadline. I did it every year. I I just like, I don't know. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed doing it that way. Um I mean, it's how into baseball I am, and I would get the notifications before the TV does, and you're watching MLB Network, and all of a sudden, like you see, oh, trying to think of a good one. Back then, Mets trade for Jay Bruce before it appeared on TV, or Yankees trade for. I'm trying to think of somebody they got in like 2018. Whoever they got, Yankees trade for Sonny Gray, I guess, on deadline day. And you'd see that on Twitter before you saw it on the TV. And it was kind of cool that you're beating the network to it. And I don't know. I always enjoyed that. That was always my July 31st experience.
Well, and that's how I am with the NFL draft. Is I will watch
Oh
the
yeah.
I will watch the NFL draft first round on the first day, and then I'll watch the second and third round on the second day, and then I will. This year I couldn't because I was in Italy, but normally I am sitting down and I am watching it all Saturday from noon until it's done, and I'm watching rounds 4, 5, 6, and 7, and I am glued to the screen. I'm connected to the
Mm-hmm.
screen. I'm with it the whole time. So I definitely can understand. But yeah, July 31st, 6 p.m. Eastern time, we'll find out, are the Pittsburgh Pirates now, without the manager that they had, who they fired during the season, are they going to put themselves in a situation where they will build a team around Skeens, or they look to get rid of Skeens and get back, an entire roster full of players, is a question, because obviously there's gonna be phone calls. Whether or not they will field those phone calls is going to be up to them. If the Dodgers get Paul Skeens, then there's no reason to play baseball anymore. So we're going to take a step aside for a fast break. When we come,
If the Pirates trade Paul Skeens, I don't know if there is a team in baseball. And sorry, I know we got to go to break.
yeah,
I don't know if there is a team in baseball that has the resources to go get Paul Skeens so that the Pirates get what would be considered fair.
right,
The only trade you can look back at and say this is somewhat comparable was the Juan Soto trade.
yeah,
And they got their best pitcher, their best prospect in general, another really good prospect who was right on the doorstep of the major leagues, and a couple other pieces. I think they got 6 guys for Soto. There's not another team that's going to be able to do something like that other than maybe the Boston Red Sox. I mean, they could give them like Roman Anthony, Marcelo Mayer, Christian Campbell, maybe Jaron Duran, and I still don't think that'd be enough. I really don't. So, although if you're the Pirates, you want to get if you know you're not going to bring him back and you're not going to compete with him,
yeah,
why not trade him now? His value is going to be at an all-time high.
yeah.
He's got 5 more years of control after this year.
Be like
Why
Murph.
not?
Be like Murph. Get the card early and trade it. But I mean,
But I'm serious
I
though.
know.
Like it
Listen,
makes sense.
his value right now, in my
It's
opinion,
never going to be higher.
if I'm the Pirates and you call me for Paul Skeens, I'm going to be like, I want 2 of your pitchers. I want half of your batting roster. I want your prospects for the, like, I will gut a team for Paul Skeens right now. I will. I would gut a team for Paul Skeens. I'll get involved in a multi-team deal. I'll be like, all right,
I just don't know
a
what
little bit
team's
from here, take a little bit from
Mm-hmm.
there. You know,
I just don't know what team has the prospects to do it.
it
Because
might be a couple teams that haven't
realistically,
worked together.
you're going to need prospects and you're going to need major leaguers. Like you're going to need young, established major leaguers
Yeah.
in addition to prospects. Like, I mean, oh no, not the Braves. I'm trying to think who has good farm systems other than the Red Sox. I mean, maybe the Cubs. But if I'm the Pirates, I'm telling the Cubs I want Pete Crow Armstrong.
Yeah.
And I think if I'm the Cubs, I hang up the phone.
Depends on what they care about more. I mean, I can't imagine getting rid of Pete
I
Crow
mean, if it's
Armstrong
Pete Crow
right now.
Armstrong straight up for Paul
Yeah.
Skeens, that's a different story.
Yeah.
But like,
I
if
wouldn't
they
do
want,
I wouldn't do that either.
but like, if they tell you like Pete Crow Armstrong, they want Kyle Tucker.
Yeah.
Well, no, they wouldn't get 2 of those guys. It'd probably be PCA would probably be the one guy. Matt Shaw is a former top prospect that's been up and down in the major leagues. We could talk about that, after the break. I know we got to take a break here.
I will say this though: if the Yankees call, I'd be like Aaron Judge or shut up. But
No, I think you can get away if you're the Yankees with giving up like Jazz Chisholm and some good prospects because Jazz is still young. I think Jazz is still only like 27.
yeah. So I mean, we'll see as it comes down to it here, but the
Mm-hmm.
conversations will continue. We are here on July 7th, and that means that we have 24 days. That is my mom's birthday number, July 24th. 24 days until the trade deadline and some change because it's not until 6 p.m. Eastern time on Thursday, July 31st. Murph and
Mm-hmm.
I will take a step aside in a fast break here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Fingers crossed that everything works on the break.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. He kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you. Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
All right, you need to come out here and get yourself the Brooklyn Pickle. I was talking about this with one of my buddies. I was like, yo, there's no better sandwich in the state of New York than the Brooklyn Pickle. And now that I found out that they're going down to North Carolina, we are taking over your taste buds everywhere you are, wherever you're going to be. You need to get yourself out to the Brooklyn Pickle. Pinehurst, you just realized that you found yourself the best sandwich shop that you're ever going to have. This is a glorious moment. It's a blessing to your community. You're welcome. Brooklyn in the house, baby. Go over to the Brooklyn Pickle. You already know what it is.
You heard the man. Head to Brooklyn Pickle Pinehurst on 1788 Old Morgantown Road in Southern Pines, North Carolina.
And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We appreciate you being here. By the grace of God, everything worked out there. How you like that? So it's
I'm
beautiful.
used to hearing the commercials. I didn't hear them this time.
Oh, you didn't hear them this time?
Were they coming? Were they coming through the computer?
Yeah, they came through like they normally do. So,
Oh,
yeah, they came through like they normally do, Murph.
I was gonna say, so like, as I'm just hoping that it worked out
It did.
on Facebook's end. It did. You checked
Yes.
it?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know why I didn't hear it. So I had no idea we were coming back when we did.
Yeah.
I just saw us come back. I was like, oh.
Yeah. Yeah. No, everything came back as planned here. So for those of you that don't know, as Murph and I are talking about this, I had to get a new laptop yesterday. I had to get a new desktop yesterday. The plan was to get a desktop for the studio. The laptop that I've had that I use, that I take everywhere with me, decided to stop working over the holiday weekend. Thankfully, it stopped working during 4th of July weekend, so I wasn't working. Thankfully, it stopped working at a time where there was 4th of July sales. Thankfully, it stopped working at a time where I, could spend the time to go out there and look for things and whatnot. So as much as Murph heard me off the air today be a little frustrated this morning, it comes with an apology to God, because first and foremost, God has been great to me. My life is amazing. Yesterday, Lily had her 9th birthday. And so to me, the most important thing, right? They say that the evil one is the stealer of time. And I'm not going to let him take my time. I got my girl who's sitting here in the studio. I have a beautiful life. And I had the money to be able to afford to make these moves. And I thank God for that. And for the fact that I was able to build last night, it taught me that my memory is still strong. It taught me I still know how to do things. It taught me that my muscle memory when it comes to broadcasting is very much alive. It forced me, or it compelled me to make things better, more vibrant, look better. And so, honestly, with everything that I have, I thank God. And I'm appreciative to God. And I apologize to God for being a little upset, being a little frustrated, being a little mad, because I didn't mean it. So, in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, I am here, and I'm grateful to be. Amen. So, and happy birthday to Miss Lily. Do you want to say hi for 1 second? Can you please? Come here. It's your birthday, sweetest. So,
She deserves a little screen time for her birthday.
yeah, so the little one here, she got to spend a lot of time with Daddy this past week. Are you speaking? You want to talk? I heard you. Go ahead. So her and I spent Friday together. I actually took a day off, not like a day where I don't do the show, but then I edit and then I do meetings. And no, I actually took a day off, and then I hung out on Saturday too with her. And so we had a nice time, had a nice birthday weekend. And she turned 9 years old, and she's always going to be my puppy because she's very vibrant and very strong and very sweet. So we love you, girl. And she recorded 2 new commercials for Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Campground Dog Boarding. So when you hear them all today, you will hear new barks from Miss Lily and perfectly timed messages from her. So happy birthday to the goose. I love you. You know that. You want to sit down? So yeah. So getting back into it, Jerry did send us a message here. He said that he's worried about JT Realmuto as well as Castellanos that could be out there on the block. I am hoping that that is not the case for, Jerry, but that is not going to happen. But what do you think about the Phillies making some moves?
I don't see it happening. I mean, the Phillies need all hands on deck, because realistically, they should have taken a bigger lead in the NL East. The Mets won 4 games in the second half of June.
Yeah.
And we're only a game and a half back at the Phillies right now. The Phillies, by themselves, did not take advantage of that situation. Yes, they are still in first place. but they did not take advantage of that situation the way they needed to. So that is their own fault. But if you look at Nick Castellanos, he's doing about what he typically does in a season. He's hitting 275. He's got 11 home runs, around 50 RBI, 39 runs scored. I mean, the one you should be more worried about right now is Bryson Stott, who's been doing next to nothing. JT Realmuto is still a solid defensive catcher. It's, you got to know at this point in their careers that catchers start to break down. I mean, JT Realmuto is not old by any means, but he is still 34 years old. That's not old, but for a catcher, that's decently old. So, 5 home runs and 28 RBI, he's not a scary hitter anymore. He's not the same guy you got from Miami all those years ago. Maybe try Kyle Schwarber back there. I mean, he did come up as a catcher. No, but honestly, just looking up and down this roster, Castellanos and Realmuto are not the problem. They're not going to go out there and get a big-time catcher to replace JT Realmuto because, number one, are you going to make him a backup? I don't think so. And number two, you're not getting Cal Raleigh. Unless you get Cal Raleigh, there's not really a worthwhile catcher upgrade on the market. And I don't think the Mariners are going to trade Cal Raleigh because he very well might break the all-time record for home runs by a catcher in a single season. He might even get to 60. Who knows? Wouldn't shock me. But this team has bigger issues than Castellanos and Realmuto, and it's just their bullpen. Their bullpen is atrocious. They can't close out games. They have nobody that can really, truly be a good closer. I mean, Matt Strahm has 5 saves. Jordan Romano has 8. Jose Alvarado has 7. Orion Kerkering only has 2, but he's got 13 holds. He might be your best reliever right now. Him and Alvarado are probably your 2 best relievers at the moment. But I don't know if Orion Kerkering can handle the 9th inning. He's never really done it before. So, they need to go get bullpen arms. They probably need him back into the rotation starting pitcher. Could they use another bat? Sure. They probably want to go get somebody that's maybe got some versatility. I mean, obviously Kyle Schwarber's not going to play the field. So, you still got Bryce Harper at first base. Maybe you want to go get a guy that could play center field a little better than Brandon Marsh. But I don't know. I mean, there's not a whole lot of good center fielders on the market. I don't know what they're really going to be able to do. The only real position they might be able to upgrade is second base. And I don't even know if they're going to do that. But I would not worry about Castellanos and Realmuto. Yes, they're older, but they're professional hitters. They're going to figure it out.
Yeah, well, I mean, Jerry said, getting swept in Houston was murder. JT's contract is big. Bullpen has huge holes. So hoping, Jerry, that your Phillies can figure it out and get it done.
I mean, I hope not, but that's
well,
the
I mean,
Mets
I want them
saying
I want them to figure it out and get right because I want the Phillies and the Mets to actually make it.
I want it to be competitive. That would be fun.
I want it to be. That's what I mean. I want it to be competitive.
But I want us to win.
But speaking of competitive, there is a Met that has said no. I ain't doing it. And who was that? Mother freaking Pete Alonso, 2-time champion and New York Met, said Sunday, 2-time champion of the Home Run Derby, by the way, said that he will not be participating in the Home Run Derbs this wonderful summer in Atlanta. Alonso won the popular event that is held one day before the All-Star Game in 2019 and 2021. He had been a participant in each of the past 5 times the event was held. Alonso said, quote, "I just decided not to do it this year. I have never really fully enjoyed the 3 off days. So I just want to be in the best possible position to help this team win in the second half. I'm in a groove with certain things. I definitely will do it again. It doesn't mean no forever." That being an end quote from Pete Alonso. Now, this brings up something, Murph, that Papa Joe brought up. He said, when you're in the home run derby, it can mess with your swing. It can mess with your timing. It can mess with all your stuff because here you are at the home run derby and they're just throwing you these little fastballs and you're trying to knock them out of the park, but it could mess up your eyes to the ball. It could mess up your swing to the ball. It could mess up your comfort, your stance, because it's different. It's not the same thing. So they said some people that are hitting well going into the home run derby, maybe they shouldn't do it. PJ is a proponent against it. I like the home run derby, but going off of what Pete Alonso said, there is a little sniff of what Papa Joe had to say when he said, I have never really fully enjoyed the 3 off days. I want to be in the best possible position. So I just want to be in the best possible position to help this team win in the second half. So he's focused on the second half of the season. How much weight do you put in to the home run derby potentially messing with somebody's swing or just kind of messing with anything in the middle of the season?
It can happen. I mean, we've seen it happen for guys over the years. Jock Peterson is probably the number one example of this happening when he was a rookie. Came up, did amazing in the home run derby, and then, couldn't figure out how to hit a baseball the rest of the year. Now there is something to be said as well about good things coming in the other direction.
Yeah.
Juan Soto in the past has talked about the home run derby helping his swing because he's the type of guy that takes a level swing and backspins the ball. If you've ever seen him, really studied him as a hitter, which I've kind of been able to do a little bit since he's been with the Mets because I've seen him a lot more. If you ever watch his swing, it's very level, and he's trying to hit the bottom of the baseball and backspin it. He's got so much power that he can backspin a ball to left center field and it still goes 425 feet. He could pull a base, like when he really gets one, he can pull a baseball and hit it a mile. But the ability to backspin a baseball can sometimes get lost in season.
Yeah.
So he kind of has taken in the past the home run derby to kind of work on that. And he's not the type of guy that needs to try to hit home runs. He's the type of guy that could just backspin a ball and it's just going to get up there in the wind and just go. That's, what it does with all his power. I'd love to see Judge do it again. I'd love to see Vladimir Guerrero Jr. do it again. Vlad is probably a guy that I think would benefit from the home run derby. Like I said, there are guys that would. But, I don't really know. I think Bobby Witt's confirmed to do it. I don't know I got to find the list of I got to see who's in it so far.
Well, let's see.
Who's confirmed to be in it.
Yeah, I'll give you the list right now.
Looks like Ronald Acuna, Cal Raleigh, James Wood, it looks like are the only 3 as of now.
Yeah, these are the ones that are in it. I just want to double check a couple different sources here. But yeah, Ronald Acuna Jr., as you mentioned, Cal Raleigh. So Ronald Acuna Jr. from the Braves, Cal Raleigh coming, oh my goodness, here. Cal Raleigh coming from the Mariners, and then James Wood, who we mentioned before, the Nationals, one of the guys that they will build with here in the coming future. So that's all that we have on here as of right now. That's where we're sitting. So, it's one of those things where you would like to see the best hitters in the country doing it, but we may not. And Jerry said, in your ear, Murph. So he's definitely ready for your teams to go up against each other. We got another message here that said, I think the home run derby can screw up a batter's timing. Even Mickey Mantle said that his timing was off after the derby. So yeah, something going off of Papa Joe's statements from this past Thursday that the home run derby can really mess with you. And does a team want to do that? Does a player want to do that when things are going in the right direction during the season? Do they want to mess with that at all? And I didn't even think about that. Like, that didn't even cross my mind because in my head, I'm like, man, home run derby, if I got asked to do that, of course I would do that. But then when you look back on it and you think to yourself, like, what could this do to your swing and just mess up with certain things? You don't want to do anything that's going to mess up a groove. You just want to kind of set it and forget it. And so Pete Alonso making the decision to not be a part of it right now. There's just 3 confirmed participants, like we said. And so Cal Raleigh, 35 home runs so far. James
Mm-hmm.
Wood, 23, and Ronald Acuna Jr., who has had 9 home runs in 40 games since missing nearly a full year because of an ACL
Can I
injury.
also
So,
bring something up real quick about Ronald Acuna?
yeah.
I get that the All-Star game's in Atlanta. Why is he starting? He's played 40 games.
Didn't you just answer your
Why
question?
is he starting?
Didn't you just answer? What'd you say?
No,
No, what'd you
because
say?
he was voted in.
I know, but what'd you say? The All-Star game's
He's
being
played
played where?
40. It doesn't matter. That for voting, that doesn't matter.
Well, I mean, if people
Why did we
people
let
are
this
voting,
guy?
they want to see.
Why did we let this guy get the starting nod?
That can affect your voting. Can that not affect your
No.
voting that you want to see this guy?
A guy that played. Listen, if you want to put somebody else from the Braves in as a starter, by all means. But Acuna, who has only played 40 games, does not deserve to be an all-star yet. If he came back at the beginning of the season, fine. But that's ridiculous. I'd also like to know why Juan Soto's not on this all-star team. Now, he might get picked as a reserve for, somebody that's hurt or somebody that doesn't play or whatever. But I'd like to know how he didn't make the roster.
Well,
he right now, with how he has hit since June 1st, he is the hottest hitter on the planet. His year-to-date stats, let me read them off for you. 263, 21 home runs, 51 RBI, 65 runs scored, 396 OBP, 508 slug, 904 OPS. Year-to-date, that's a Juan Soto season. Maybe the batting average and OBP are a little bit low, but home runs, RBI is about what is normal for Juan Soto, which is a superstar caliber player. How did he not make this team? I would just like to know. Fernando Tatis should not be an all-star over Juan Soto. Ronald Acuna Jr. should not be an all-star over Juan Soto.
well, you
I'll
don't
give it to Pete Crow Armstrong. He deserves it.
You don't want to have.
I'll give it to Kyle Tucker,
But you answer the
but
question.
not those two. Those two are starters.
You answer the question about Acuna though. How do you have the
Voting doesn't matter for who's at home. The Mets didn't have a starter at home in 2013.
But you don't
at City
think
Field.
you don't think
Harvey
that,
started. Harvey started as a pitcher,
but you don't
but the
think
managers
that
make that
matters?
choice.
He's in
If the
Atlanta.
manager chooses
He's in Atlanta.
to start the pitcher, that's
Right.
fine. If it was Spencer Strider we're talking about, and you want to give Spencer Strider the nod in front of the home crowd over somebody like Zach Wheeler or Paul Skeens, that's fine. I'm not gonna get on you for that.
I'm not
But
surprised at all that
The fans voting in Ronald Acuna, the fact that he was even on the ballot in the first place when they first came out, having not even played a game yet, is absurd.
Well, again, he's playing in Atlanta, and I don't think they want to have him come off the bench. I'm not saying
Start him as the DH for all I care.
I'm not saying
If somebody
your
doesn't
point
play,
yeah.
if one of the starters doesn't play because he's hurt, and then you want to start him, okay, that's fine. Home crowd, whatever.
Yeah.
He did not deserve to be voted as an all-star starter. Absolutely not. That was absurd.
It feels like seeing Atlanta and him being the face of the Atlanta Braves right now. That I'm not surprised when you look at things and the politicking of certain things. That's all I'm saying. In the American League, the starters for the All-Star game that will be played on July 15th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and we, for the first time ever, will be at Sports Zone Academy. GG Cards and Breaks Trade Night will be on site on location at our indoor baseball and softball training facility here in Central New York, the old Syracuse China. So we will be trading, selling, and buying cards while we're also watching the All-Star game. The starters for the American League will
Was
be
it next Tuesday?
Yep, Tuesday. We have 2 trade nights that week, Tuesday and Thursday. So in the American League, Cal Raleigh will be the starter, Seattle catcher. First baseman Vlad Guerrero Jr. of Toronto. Second baseman Gleyber Torres of Detroit. Third baseman Jose Ramirez of Cleveland. Shortstop Jacob Wilson of the Athletics. Outfield Aaron Judge of the Yankees. Riley Green of the Tigers. Javier Baez of the Tigers. So not only 3 Tigers in the American League that will be out there, but 3 starters, 2 of them in the outfield together, and the DH Ryan O'Hearn of Baltimore. The reserves in the American League: catcher Alejandro Kirk of the Blue Jays. Infield Jonathan Aranda of the Rays.
Very well deserved.
Which I'm happy for the Rays, because the Rays don't always get the love that they deserve, but they work their tails off, and they've been working their butts off, especially recently in the last few weeks. On top of the fact that they don't have their home stadium. Remember, folks, they're the only team besides the Athletics of 30 that are not playing in a stadium that they can call their own. Alex, and not saying that it's not a home away from home, but it ain't home, is what I'm saying. Alex Bregman in the infield of Boston. Jazz Chisholm Jr. of the Yankees in Boston. Look at this is right off the screen. It's always with me because Jazz Chisholm is a Yankee. He used to be a Diamondback, and his first ever card printed by Bowman, graded a
That's
10
probably worth a little extra money right now.
and autographed. Oh yes, I love my Jazz.
Do you remember how much you paid for that?
I do. I do ish. I know ish what I paid. I can look it up. But Jazz Chisholm Jr., Brandon Lowe of the Rays will also be out there in the infield. Jeremy Pena of the Astros. Bobby Witt Jr. as a reserve infield for the Kansas City Royals. I'd even want to put him as a starter. Byron Buxton of Minnesota. Stephen Kwan in the out. These are outfielders. Cleveland. Julio Rodriguez in the outfield as well from Seattle. And Brent Rooker, DH for the Athletics. On the American side, the pitchers: Hunter Brown of Houston. Chris Bubik of Kansas City. Garrett Crochet of Boston. Jacob DeGrom, motherfreaking let's go, baby, of the Texas
Literally
Rangers.
might win another Cy Young this year.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Max Fried of the
Mets,
Yankees.
please bring him home. Please.
I tell people
I
all
know
the
it's
time.
not going to happen. But David
It ain't
Stearns,
gonna happen
please
this
bring him home.
It's not going to happen this year at all. There's no way they're going to let go of him in Texas. They waited
They're
a lot.
out of contention. They're going to be sellers. He's a prime candidate to be traded if they sell.
I don't know if Texas wants to let him go after they waited for him. Max Fried of the Yankees, who has saved them this season as one of the guys that they can lean on, the guy they can lean on. He'll be pitching for the American League. Kikuchi of the Angels will be there. Screwball of Detroit. Sean Smith of Chicago. And Brian Wu of the Seattle Mariners. Relief pitchers are Aroldis Chapman of Boston, Josh Hader of Houston, and Andres Munoz of Seattle. A lot of Seattle players in the American League All-Stars. National League, I'll run through these here. The starters: Will Smith, not the one that smacked Chris Rock, the other one. And so of the Dodgers, by the
Also
way,
not the one that won three straight World Series with 3 different teams.
that is
The
true.
lefty reliever.
There's a lot of Will Smiths. There was some crazy stat that like for 2 or 3 years in a row there was a Will Smith that was in the World Series or something crazy.
4.
So 4, insane. So Will
21,
Smith,
22, 23, 24.
yeah, I feel like when he should
Actually, Will Smith has been on the World Series winning team for the last 4 years.
you know who should announce
The
him?
other Will Smith won the first 3.
Martin Lawrence should announce him and should do the bad boys, bad boys. So we got the catcher Will Smith of the Dodgers. Starters for the National League: Freddie Freeman of the Dodgers at first base. Ketel Marte of the Arizona Diamondbacks, my squad, second base. Manny Machado, third base of San Diego. And then we have shortstop Francisco Lindor of the New York Motherfreaking
Finally.
Mets. Outfield, we have Ronald Acuna Jr., Pete Crow Armstrong, Kyle Tucker, one of the Braves, that's Acuna, Pete Crow, and Kyle Tucker. Chicago Cubs teammates will be in the outfield together, which means that the starters in the outfield for the American League and the National League will both feature teammates in the outfield. DH, I don't know if you know this guy. You could be familiar with him. He is someone who's been coming up the ranks. His name is kind of well known, but his cards probably aren't worth that much. I'm being facetious. If anybody flips out, please know that sarcasm still exists in 2025. His name is Shohei Ohtani. You may know him, you may not. If you don't know him, you don't know baseball. That's of the Dodgers. The reserves, Hunter Goodman of Colorado. Let's go, Colorado. He was leading all their statistics when we talked about who could Colorado possibly trade away. Goodman was the only hitter that we could see, arguably.
I mean, maybe he's the guy that you go and get as a catcher for the Phillies, but
maybe. So Hunter Goodman, Colorado, he is a reserve.
He's their lone representative.
Pete Alonso of the Mets in the infield is a reserve. Other reserves, Ellie De La Cruz of the Cincinnati Reds, Brendan Donovan of St. Louis, Matt Olson of Atlanta, Eugenio Suarez. Stop talking about trading him, Arizona. And then in the outfield,
can we get him in the home run derby, please?
I know, right? And then outfielder, I love seeing this. So Ketel Marte got it, and the starters were named. The reserves were just named here recently. Eugenio Suarez was invited, and Corbin Carroll of the Diamondbacks also invited in the outfield. And then Kyle Stewart of Miami, their only representative in the outfield. Fernando Tatis Jr. in the outfield for San Diego as a reserve for the National League. James Wood will be in the outfield reserve for Washington. DH Kyle Schwarber of the Philadelphia Phillies. By the way, here's the crazy thing. The Philadelphia Phillies, of anyone in the field, not on the mound, only one representative, no starters.
Also, Jerry will appreciate this.
Yeah.
How the hell is Trey Turner not an all-star?
I was just going to say Trey Turner's. I was like,
Trey Turner and Juan Soto got screwed.
Did he die?
They need to be the first two injury replacements for the National League.
What'd you say?
They need to be the first two injury replacements for the National League. Juan Soto and Trey Turner.
Yeah, reading off this list and not seeing Trey Turner and then Juan Soto, I mean, you hope
it's ridiculous.
I was going to wake up here. Now, starting pitchers for the National League. Matthew Boyd of Chicago Cubs, Mackenzie Gore, who we mentioned of Washington, Clayton Kershaw, a legend pick for the Dodgers, Freddie Peralta of Milwaukee, who is their only representative, Robbie Ray of San Francisco, Chris Sale of Atlanta, Paul Skeens of Pittsburgh, Logan Webb of San Francisco. We also have Zach Wheeler of Philadelphia. Like I said, their only representative in the field. On the mound, they do have Zach Wheeler. And then Yamamoto of the Dodgers, also starting pitcher. Relief pitchers, we have Edwin Diaz of the Mets, Randy Rodriguez of San Francisco. And how about this, folks? A guy who was on my show just within the last couple of years when he was a Tampa Bay Ray, another relief pitcher for the National League, is Mr. Jason Adam of San Diego, which does not mean a whale's private part, although that was said by the man they call Will Ferrell, Ron Burgundy. So, any thoughts, Murph, here? I know you're upset about Juan Soto, but it's funny how when I was talking about Philadelphia, the first name that was in my brain was Trey Turner. So, your ultimate...
Because he deserves to be an all-star.
Your ultimate thoughts on the American League and the National League now that we know who is reserving on here, who's going to be coming out of the dugout, I should say, and that we know our pitchers, because we knew only the starters. That's all we knew, and now we know reserves. Now we know pitchers. So, overall thoughts.
For me, I don't think the fans did a very good job this year in the National League. In the American League, I think they did fine.
Okay.
Cal Raleigh absolutely deserved to start. Maybe Vladimir Guerrero Jr. didn't deserve it, but, there wasn't really another first baseman in the American League that stood out. Paul Goldschmidt, I don't think deserved to be a starter, so I'm okay with Vlad Jr. Gleyber Torres definitely deserved to start. He's had a great season for the Tigers this year. Jacob Wilson absolutely deserved the All-Star start. It was tough competition to beat out Bobby Witt Jr., but he did it. Jose Ramirez, we all know, definitely deserved to be an all-star. If Alex Bregman hadn't gotten hurt, he might have been the starter. Yeah. But Alex Bregman will probably not be on the all-star team, so I imagine there will be a replacement for him to play in the game. DH in the American League, I could see anybody that from any Yankee fan that said Ben Rice should be an all-star. I'm not surprised it's Ryan O'Hearn. He's had a great year for the Orioles, um, in his first year with them. So it's impressive. I'm not going to complain about Judge. Riley Green absolutely deserves to start. And how about Javier Baez? 3 all-star starting nods, 3rd different position that he's going to start at. So big hats off to him and a resurgence in his career. So I'm love to see that. Will Smith, not surprising. Freddie Freeman. I think Pete Alonso has had a better season so far, but it's Freddie Freeman. It's I'm trying to think of a good. It's like having spaghetti or ziti. Like they're both pretty darn good. It's just picking your poison. Ketel Marte definitely deserved to start. There's no question about that. Finally, Francisco Lindor gets to be an all-star, let alone start. So thank God for that. Manny Machado. I think Max Muncy getting hurt kind of made Machado be more like the start, want to be the starter. Not surprising with Ohtani. We've already talked about Acuna. There's no reason he should be starting. The fans did a terrible job at that. Pete Crow Armstrong absolutely deserves it. Kyle Tucker, I'd say probably deserves it too. I think the outfield should have been Crow Armstrong, Kyle Tucker, and Juan Soto. That's what it should have been. So, I don't need to get into that too much. But as far as reserves go, I'm not seeing who they've put out there as far as the reserves. Let's see, where's the reserves here? Here we go. Reserves and pitchers. Hunter Brown has been one of the best pitchers in baseball this year. Absolutely deserves it. Aroldis Chapman having another great year. Chris Bubich has had a great season, so he deserves it. Garrett Crochet, obviously. Jacob deGrom, obviously. Don't be shocked if Max Fried starts this game. If Aaron Boone starts him in front of his former hometown crowd. Kikuchi with the Angels makes sense because they need some sort of an all-star. Tariq Skubal has been the best pitcher in baseball over the last 2 years. National League-wise, Mackenzie Gore absolutely is awesome. I think it's cool that they had the Legends pick with Clayton Kershaw. I guess that leads me to believe that maybe he's done after this year, and they're almost going to give him kind of like a Dwayne Wade, Dirk Nowitzki farewell tour at the All-Star game.
Maybe.
So we'll see. But Robbie Ray's had another great year. Randy Rodriguez has arguably been the best relief pitcher in all of baseball. Zach Wheeler is solidifying himself as the best pitcher in the National League. Yamamoto definitely deserved it. He had a great start to the year. Reserves-wise, I'm fine with Hunter Goodman. Every team has to have an all-star, so, having Hunter Goodman for the Rockies makes sense. Jonathan Aranda, I said it before, absolutely deserves to be an all-star. I love that one. I think that's a great pick for them. Surprised Jazz Chisholm is an all-star a little bit with his low batting average, but his counting stats have been really good, so I'll give him that. Obviously Bobby Witt needs to be there. A little surprised Ellie wasn't the National League starter over Lindor.
Yeah, Ellie
but I'll give him.
Was a little strange.
No. Ellie absolutely deserves to be an all-star.
No, I'm saying it was a little strange seeing him as a reserve.
Yeah, I think he probably should have been the starter for the National League over Lindor, but I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to argue with it. Lindor has not been an all-star as a Met, and he literally came in second in MVP voting last year. So that's a crime in and of itself. So I'm glad he's finally an all-star. Eugenio Suarez has had another amazing year. The dude just knows how to hit home runs. Ever since he came to the Diamondbacks, he's just raking. I have benefited from that in fantasy, so thank you, Eugenio Suarez, for that. Byron Buxton and Julio Rodriguez are Buxton stayed healthy, and we all know when he stays healthy, he's going to be really good. I don't get it for Julio Rodriguez. I really don't. He's got a sub 700 OPS. So, yeah, we'll see with that one. And again, Fernando Tatis should not be an all-star over Juan Soto. I don't believe Corbin Carroll should be an all-star over Juan Soto, but I do believe Corbin Carroll over Fernando Tatis in this scenario. But yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with the rosters other than those couple things that I pointed out. I think mostly everybody deserves to be there. We're going to see some other guys that are going to become all-stars over the next few days with guys that'll be not going due to injury. Pitchers that pitch Saturday or Sunday that aren't going to play in the game, they'll bring in new pitchers to replace them. I'm excited for it. I may or may not, I don't know yet, be there with you at that trade night on Tuesday for, is it this Tuesday or next Tuesday?
It's going to be huge. It's Tuesday the 15th.
So if I do, in fact, come up on Monday,
it's going to be huge.
I'm probably going to want to stay for that.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. I'm excited. So I have a few notes to make here, and we should talk about that. A few notes to make. Now, I do have some polls that are up on X now, the former Twitter, @CallDT, CALLDT. Make sure to follow me there and vote in our polls that I put up pretty much every week. Of the Major League Baseball franchises who have fired their managers during the 2025 season, which franchise is in the most trouble? Orioles, Rockies, Pirates, or Nationals? 40% of you say Orioles. 40% of you also say the Nationals. And 20% of you say the Rockies. 0% are worried about the Pirates. And I just put up here, did the fans make the right picks for the American League players voted in the Major League Baseball All-Star Game, yes or no?
American, yeah.
And I put the same thing up for the National League. You could vote on X @CallDT. That's CALLDT. We're going to take a step aside inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. But before we do that, guess what, Murph? Something that you and I, this is great news. And at the same time, it's also sad news. It's great this year. Sad for every year recorded in history before this. But here we go. New York City recorded 0 shootings and 0 murders across all 5 boroughs on Independence Day, July 4th, 2025. Marking the first time in recorded history this peaceful milestone has been achieved, according to NYPD officials, including NYPD Commissioner Jessica Tisch. So just so you all know, New York City, for the first time ever, amongst all 5 of their boroughs, had 0 shootings and 0 murders during the 4th of July for the first time ever. That's really great to hear, and also really sad to hear. We'll take a step aside here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life, inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Be peaceful, y'all. Be peaceful. Be at ease. We'll be back right after this.
Avicoli's restaurant, located on 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, New York, has been serving our community for decades. Your place to go for home cooking on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road is just minutes from Liverpool High School. And every single month, Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is on site, on location, with Liverpool sports, student athletes, coaches, and administration telling their stories throughout the year. We look forward to seeing you on site at Avicoli's for their casual pizza side, their fine dining, as well as their bar. And of course, you can order online at myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. For takeout, delivery, and catering, call 315-622-5100. That's 315-622-5100. Come on in to the neighborhood spot Avicoli's, open 7 days a week in Liverpool, New York. K9 K9 Campground Dog Boarding is your home away from home for your furry loving friends. Open 7 days a week with drop off and pickup times in the morning and later on in the day and early evening. K9 Campground Dog Boarding is the spot to trust with your dog for short and long-term stays. Call 315-299-4013 for more information. That's 315-299-4013 and go to k9campground.com as well. That's K, the number 9, KAMP ground.com, where you will find all of the information on their different cabins, which include the classic cabin, executive cabin, grand cabin, and luxury cabin. K9 Campground Dog Boarding, where your dog will have indoor and outdoor areas as well as their own private cabin for any size, any breed, as well as dogs with different needs. Dog parents and dogs alike choose K9 Campground Dog Boarding. Isn't that right, Lily? Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes. Here's a message from Renee from Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York. Open Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and Sundays for brunch.
It's a lot like the way that my mom and dad ran their restaurant. We have put in place a lot of people that are family to us, very similar to how my dad hired people that were family to him. And then the tradition I'm carrying on is a lot of the items that are on our menu are my dad's. And he taught our chefs how to recreate his dishes. So I think that Tommy McInerney, who our executive chef is, to him it is an art. And I think that when he does create a dish, it's not just about making the food taste delicious, which is definitely our priority, but it's an art to him, and it's almost like his canvas on a plate where he just wants the colors to look great, and people love it because he takes pride in that. And Bryan and I appreciate that. We want it to obviously look good and taste good. I will tell you, when we opened up, it was 6 weeks before COVID. And what was amazing was the community, our friends and family stepped up, and everybody did takeout. Everybody supported us. Our hearts were just so filled. So to Bryan and I, obviously our friends come all the time, and we just have repeat customers in Jamesville, and I think people going to our previous restaurant in Green Lakes are making the trip to come to Bryan's Landing to support us. And I mean, I think we have great food and a great atmosphere. So it's very, very important to us.
Head to Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York, where memories have become recipes that are now meals to share with you. Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and on Sundays for brunch. And be sure to come out for live music Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Life gets busy, and sometimes that means us running around. So K9 Camp Dog Daycare offers you an opportunity to give your dog a place to stay while you take care of what you need to throughout the day. K9 Camp Dog Daycare is located on 228 Old Bridge Street in East Syracuse, New York. You can see it from the highway, and it's just off of Erie Boulevard across from BJ's Wholesale Club. Call 315-437-7110. That's 315-437-7110 to schedule an appointment to bring your dog in and tour the facility. Appointments are Monday through Thursday after 6:30, where you and your dog can see everything that K9 Camp Dog Daycare has to offer, including a self-serve dog wash and a retail store filled with all of your dog's wants and needs, including food, treats, harnesses, leashes, and more, making K9 Camp Dog Daycare your one-stop shop for your furry loving friend. Right, Lily?
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks comes to you on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York. Open Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 6. And on Sundays from 10 to 5, you will find all of your sports card and trading card needs there. Not only do they have packs, boxes, graded cards, and singles of hockey, soccer, baseball, basketball, football, Disney, Lorcana, Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pokemon, and more while supplies last. But they also have everything you need to protect your cards. Different size top loaders, different size sleeves. They have binders. They have the pages for the binders. They have the one-touch cases and so much more, including boxes, so you can travel with your cards if you're going out to a trade night like GG Cards and Breaks has all throughout the year. Head over to GG Cards and Breaks today. If you've never collected a card before in your life, doesn't matter. You're still going to find some amazing things. And if you have collected most of your life, well, it's time to add to that collection with your favorite team, favorite player, or favorite game. Head over to GG Cards and Breaks and be a big kid. Tuesday through Saturday, 10 to 6, and on Sundays from 10 to 5. Murph and I are here with you for a few more minutes here this morning, where sports meets that thing called life. Couple things have happened since we got on the air today. Elon Musk has formed a third party in America called the America Party. And so now we have the Democrats, the Republicans, and the America Party. So that is here. And I want to let y'all know why I'm wearing the star today. Now, the Cowboys are my second favorite team behind the Jaguars. I'm also wearing the star today because beyond everything else that I could report on or speak on this morning, I do want to say a prayer with Murph and with you, if you'll oblige me, whatever background you have, if you have religion, if you don't have religion, you believe in God, you don't believe in God, I welcome you here today to talk to God, whether you have before or you never have. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. God, I ask you today to help everyone dealing with anything, a natural disaster, anything in our lives, economically, spiritually, physically, mentally, socially, whatever's going on. I ask for you to help us to heal completely and for good. And no matter what, to help us heal through you. And help us handle well whatever comes our way in and out of our control, including the flooding that has happened in Central Texas. I pray for everyone that has passed on to be in your healing arms, to be safe and sound at home in heaven with you, closer to you than they have ever been, and fully with you and with their loved ones that have also passed on. Ask for their loved ones here on earth to be comforted by you, by your healing hand, your open heart, and your tender love, that you help them to be with their loved ones here on earth, safe and sound, and to get ever closer to you every millisecond of a millisecond, and that those that have passed on are still with their loved ones here on earth, because dying you destroyed our death, and rising you restored our life. So may death not even keep us apart from those that we love. Some way, shape, or form, please help us to know that we're together, and may we be together again in heaven. For everyone who is currently missing, I pray that they come home. I pray that we have only good news. I pray that anyone who has passed on, that once we find out that they too are in heaven safe and sound, and that their loved ones are with them here on earth through your death and resurrection, Jesus. I just pray for good news. I pray for the natural disasters to stop, the healing to happen right now, and for you to be with us all, that every home and business and everything will be upright and working again, but above everything else, that our hearts will heal, our minds will be at peace, and our loved ones will be at rest. And I pray that those that are missing will be found safe and sound. In Jesus' most precious name, we pray for Texas, we pray for America, we pray for the world, and we thank you. In Jesus' name, in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. That is the most important thing here, Murph, this morning, is hearing about what's been going on in Texas, me having friends down in Texas that I love, and just wanting to hear some good news about some people that are found alive somewhere. I know they're still looking for campers and for their counselor that was with them. And so I just pray that that death toll does not rise and that that water subsides.
Yeah, I didn't even know about that until I was having dinner with my dad yesterday, and he brought it up. I had no idea about that, so he told me, and it's obviously I saw a time lapse. And I don't know how long the time was, but of the water just rising and rising and rising and getting worse and worse and worse. And it's hard to imagine that there's people that did survive that. If they do continue to find, if they do find survivors, that would be incredible. Um, but it's horrible, and it's obviously something that's beyond anybody's control. And um, hopefully they, like you said, there's some people that we find alive, and some of these kids are able to be, will be able to go back home with their families or whatever, because they get sent to camp, and their families expect them to be safe. With my dad working for a camp for as long as he has, and me having worked there at times too, I get it. And it's, these parents drop these kids off for as long as they do. I don't know much about these camps. I don't know if they were summer long camps or they were week long camps or day long or just day camps or whatever. But, the parents drop the kids off and expect them to be safe. And, obviously there's nothing you can do about a flood. It happens. It's something that happens in nature, but you just got to hope that everybody that's missing can come back safe and sound.
Yeah. Yeah. And like you said, your dad working in this field for such a long time, and bringing up a great point, right? You get dropped off, and your parents expect you to be safe and sound. They expect you to be okay. I mean, I went
Mm-hmm.
to a basketball camp pretty much every summer for a ton of years. And, I coached at camps. So, you're responsible. I was responsible for little kids. And,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not something that you ever think about, because, why would you have to? But unfortunately, in this situation, people have had to think about this. And I just pray that there's peace, because that's, nobody should have to not be able to say, see you later to their loved ones. And definitely not children, but really not anybody of any age. I know some people say, oh, if it's the elderly or it's children, any life to me lost is too many. And I will always feel that way. So I pray that everyone is okay, and hopefully we get some good news here soon. But that is a prayer that needed to be said, and it's why I'm wearing my star today. To get back to a few points before Murph and I hop out of here this morning on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, from a somber mood to a mood that, in the case of Murph, is happy. In the case of other people, maybe not so much. We know that Murph always picks on the Yankee fans. I'm not saying that he's mean to y'all, but he razzes y'all. Listen, Queens versus the Bronx. See who you reppin'. So that's where you're at. Now the New York Yankees were seemingly slipping to another loss Sunday when Juan Soto cracked a pitch to left field in the seventh inning. As Murph talked about, Juan Soto not being an all-star here, not even a reserve. The New York Mets, down 2 runs at Citi Field, were cooking up a rally with no outs. Francisco Lindor stood at first base. Pete Alonso loomed on deck, and Brandon Nimmo was in the hole. This was the heart of the Mets' potent lineup. Given the Yankees' recent woes, finishing their 2-run lead, fumbling their 2-run lead, pardon me, and suffering a Subway Series sweep at the hands of their neighbors and a 7th straight loss seemed like it was going to happen. But Cody Bellinger was able to save them. He charged Soto's sinking 105 mile per hour line drive, made a shoestring catch, and fired a strike to first base for an improbable double play to help secure a skid snapping 6-4 win. The Yankees had lost 6 in a row, could have been 7, and almost got swept by the Mets. So why am I bringing this up saying that Murph should be smiling? Well, because the Mets just won the Subway Series against the Yankees here, and they did it while we were celebrating the independence of our nation. So Murph, Queens right now has bragging rights over the Bronx. Congratulations.
Well, for now, I mean, we did technically still split the season series, so I mean,
Right.
I'm not gonna get too excited, but Yankee fans were getting all over us and thinking like, we took 2 out of 3 in the Bronx and whatnot, and well, we just took 2 out of 3 in Queens, and we've got a much better record than you guys do, and we just lost 13 out of 17 to end the month of June. So yeah, I don't lose any sleep thinking of Yankee fans here, and I very much enjoy thoroughly beating up on the Yankees. I would have loved to have made it 3 in a row, but it is what it is. I'm not, can't win them all. I'm happy with 2 out of 3. I mean, you win 2 out of 3 games in every series, you're gonna win a lot of baseball games. So I am thrilled the fact that they're finally getting back on track. They've won 2 straight series. They have a day off today, but then they go to Baltimore. And then they close out the first half at Kansas City. So I'll get to see Jack Caglione against my Mets for the first time, which is going to be pretty cool. Assuming they don't send him down by then, because he's had a rough start to the year. So I kind of feel bad for the guy I traded that card to, but at the same time, not my problem.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens here as they step forward, but we can make a statement that the New York Mets, who have had some moments, had some struggling moments here in the recent past, have found a way to win this series against the Yankees. I just put a poll up. Should Juan Soto have been an all-star for this 2025 Major League Baseball season? You can vote yes or no on X. All you have to do is go to @CallDT. That's CALLDT. I'm laughing because Jerry said stupid Yankees. He's mad that the Yankees did not win the series over the Mets. And Murph, we're going to have a card note here in a second, but before we get to that, I do want to get to one piece of news in the world of football, and that is the fact that we have somebody unretiring to get themselves out there. Darren Waller, who, by the way, he was the #1 target for the Raiders. The Raiders. They were the #1 target for the Raiders just a few years ago. He was the guy. He was the player that they trusted in. And he's not even a wide receiver. He's a tight end. Well, from the Raiders, he went off to the Miami Dolphins and he retired. But he will come out of retirement to join the Dolphins after the Dolphins traded a 2026 6th-round pick to the New York Giants. He will be coming out of retirement and joining the Dolphins. Now, he was a Raider, then he was a Giant, now he's a Dolphin. Sorry for the confusion. The Dolphins will trade a 2026 6th-round pick to the New York Giants, who held the rights of Darren Waller in exchange for Waller and a conditional 2027 7th-round pick. Now, Waller's only 32 years old. He was one of the league's best tight ends in 2019 and 2020, recording a combined 197 receptions for 2,341 receiving yards and 12 touchdowns for the Raiders. So, like I said, he was their target. Now, they rewarded him with a 3-year, $51 million extension in 2022. However, they traded him to the Giants the following year, and he announced his retirement after just one season in New York. Man, look at that. You can go from the top of the mountain to getting traded to the Giants and going, you know what? I don't like football anymore. So, looking at Darren Waller, he told people close to. Isn't that the story though? Man has got over 2,000 yards in 2 seasons combined. He's got 12 touchdowns. He's got 197 receptions in 2 seasons combined. And then he gets traded after getting his extension and all this money, gets traded to the Giants, spends 1 year at MetLife and goes, bro, I ain't doing this no more. So now he's playing for the Miami Dolphins. Told people close to him that he, quote, missed football, end quote, but he found a way out. If you don't want to be a Giant anymore and you're under contract, just tell them that you're retiring. Maybe Saquon Barkley should have retired, quote unquote, sooner than he did. Now, this marks the sooner than he got moved, I should say. This marks the second major trade in as many days for Dolphins general manager Chris Greer, who sent 3-time All-Pro quarterback Jalen Ramsey and tight end Jonnu Smith to the Pittsburgh Steelers, and that was for safety Minkah Fitzpatrick. Adding Waller fills a vacated spot that Jonnu Smith leaves as the team's primary pass-catching tight end. So we shall see what happens here. Now, he announced his retirement last June, saying that a health scare he experienced in November 2023 gave him clarity about his life. In a video posted to YouTube, he detailed a, quote, very scary situation, end quote, during which he struggled to breathe and ultimately spent 3.5 days in the hospital, unable to stand up, use the bathroom, or feed himself. He didn't disclose the exact nature of what this was. He's been open about his struggles, speaking of Darren Waller, with addiction, his sobriety, and how rehab following a 2017 overdose helped turn around his life. He's vowed to use his story to help others. He recorded a combined 940 receiving yards in the 2 seasons after signing his extension and missed 21 games over the past 3 seasons. He's familiar with the Dolphins offensive coordinator Frank Smith, who coached the Raiders tight ends from 2018 to 2020, which are the best seasons that Darren Waller had. So, to update the trade that happened while we were talking last week, Jalen Ramsey and Minkah Fitzpatrick, it wasn't straight up. Jonnu Smith was involved in it. So Jonnu Smith and Jalen Ramsey leave the Dolphins, that being cornerback and tight end respectively, for Minkah Fitzpatrick of the Steelers, who goes to Miami at the safety position. And now Darren Waller has come out of retirement to be a Miami Dolphin. So Murph, like I said, love football, one of the best tight ends in the country, awesome in fantasy, go to the Giants, fake a retirement, go down to South Beach. What are your thoughts?
Well, from what he said, he had no desire to really play football again. And then, you know, unless he was going to play for his old tight ends coach from Vegas, who was now with the Dolphins. So, you know, he had the chance to do that, and we'll see what happens. I don't know how long he intends to play for, but we'll see. He was great before he retired, so we'll see.
He's only 32. So, I mean, Darren Waller, my goodness. This guy, I mean, I respect him as a tight end.
Andrew Luck retired at 28.
Andrew Luck did something that was atypical. That man retired before he turned 30, and he did it a couple weeks before the season. But, I mean, is he smart at the end of all of this? Is he the intelligent one in the fact that he is, you know, he had retired before he was going to potentially have to deal with concussions and other things that have gone on, his body getting hit again. You know, and Andrew Luck goes down as a good quarterback, a strong quarterback, a respected quarterback. So why not? With that being said, and we hope that beyond everything else, Darren Waller is healthy, safe, sober, and that he can continue to be a message to the people out there that there is life after whatever troubles you're going through, either that are in your control or out of your control. Any sports cards that you'd like to show, Murph, while we have a minute here?
I do have some, and I'll go through them quickly because I've been buying and selling so much stuff that there's stuff I have right now that I might not have in 3 days.
Okay.
Picked up a Prism Silver Caleb Williams. Picked up an Aiden Hutchinson non-rookie auto number to 99. Fairly cheap card, but not bad.
I like it.
Jesus, I don't know if it's Made or Made. I'm gonna go with Made. It's probably what his name is.
Yeah.
First Bowman paper auto. I don't think I showed this on the show yet, but it's a Wyatt Langford Topps Chrome update rookie auto numbered to 150.
Nice.
JJ Weatherholt first Bowman auto. Jerry, I like this one. Tier 1 talent Aaron Nola auto. This one is a PC card for me. It is Bright Lights out of Illusions. Ricky Pearsall, rookie auto.
Nice.
This is a cool one. You don't see very many of these. This is number 200. This is from 2004 Topps Chrome Premium Performers. Peyton Manning, patch auto.
Oh, that's cool. I did have a Peyton Manning patch. I think I sold it.
And then we have this one right here. I picked this up in a trade with a friend of mine who is hosting our card show at PNC Field with me. This is a Zenith RPA of Jalen Hurts, numbered 299, and then a couple cheapish slabs. Optic Jason Tatum rookie. Oh, and nice. This is actually a PSA 7.5 Carlton Fisk rookie card.
Oh, that's cool. I like the Tatum. I'm a fan of Tatum, so I do like the Tatum very
well,
much.
If I still have it, if I do in fact come up next week, maybe I'll make a deal with you.
Yeah, I definitely think we got some things that if they're here with me and they're here with you, that we should make some deals. Jerry, this is for you. For some reason, Jerry, this became my show and tell for Jerry, proudly presented by GG Cards and Breaks. So, because Jerry likes Notre Dame, Jerry likes the Phillies, and Jerry likes Boston. And so I have these for you, Jerry. This is a Fighting Irish. It's really cool here. It's a Michael Mayer, and we talk about the Vegas. We talk about their tight ends. So you got that giant patch here, and then you have the autograph. And the autograph is really cool because it's like it's signed onto it, but it's signed onto like a piece of plastic. It's not a sticker. It's just like literally signed, so it's sitting in there. And there's another patch where it says Fighting Irish. So it's a dual patch. It comes in this massive it's put in this massive top loader because it's so huge. So, Jer, that's for you. I did that for you today. I got some other ones for you, Jer. And then I have a stained glass Bryce Harper. It's not rookie, but I just think it's cool because I like, obviously I like church and love living in the world of God, and I am in God's world. So looking at the stained glass of Bryce Harper. And then I have some other pieces. I got another one for you, Jer. But these are for the guys that I'm just supporting in the NFL. I send you all my love. So this is a Bowman first of Will Howard when he used to be with Kansas State. Obviously, I interviewed him with Ohio State when they just won the national championship. I interviewed him during the college football playoff. This guy I am super, super proud of, and I really hope that he is on a roster and stays on a roster, I should say. Cam Scattaboo
I hope so too.
Of Arizona.
I got him in
State.
Dynasty.
Yeah, Arizona State. This is his first ever card that was made. So I got Will Howard's first, Scattaboo's first, and that one is a refractor. Then we got a nice dazzling looking refractor, a little confetti looking thing here of Jack Sawyer. This is the guy I was at the Ohio State Texas game in the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic in the semis of the college football playoff this past season, where he got the interception that solidified the game. And then shout out to my buddy here, Jason Henderson, who went to Old Dominion, was recruited by Syracuse. This is a guy that I spoke to during his recruitment, and I just wanted to pick up his autograph because I have love and respect. This man and I share a birthday. This is a refractor of Whitey Ford. I just love Whitey, and you can see that there's a little time thing there. You got a little watch on here. It's really cool. So it's called Pennants, and it's Whitey Ford. And this one's for you, Jer. I've shown it before, but I don't think you've ever seen it, Jerry. This was in my box, and whenever it sneaks into my box, I have to take it out. People make me offers on this thing. They love this card. It is a low number. It is an autograph. It is a national treasure. He is a national treasure, and it also has a piece of his jersey. I don't think I can ever let this card go, but it will sneak into my box when I go to events from time to time, and it's my Larry Bird.
That is why my PC cards stay separate from any cards I bring to
Well,
shows
my
or trade
thing is
nights
like,
with me.
I don't know how it got in there. I mean, now it's here. It stays on my side where I can look at it at all times in the studio, but Larry Bird here, folks.
Maybe Lily put it there.
Maybe she did. She's like, Papa, I want a new, I don't know. She likes her bed. Maybe she wants,
I want an expensive new toy.
yeah, she wants something different. But yeah, so this Larry Bird, Jerry, you could see it. It's numbered to 25, number 4 out of 25. So
I would only get rid of that one if you find a National Treasures one that's on card, because I think that's sticker, right?
this one is, yes, this is the sticker.
Yeah,
So
I would only get rid of that if you find a nicer one that's like an on card auto,
yeah.
and
So
then maybe get rid of that one.
So just so you all know, that one is not for sale unless you can find me better. But Jerry, that's for you, Jer. I had Phillies in there, I had Celtics in there, and I had Notre Dame. So Jerry put wow, then he put wow again, and then he yelled really loud in a good way. So yeah, the national treasure is Larry Bird. And you'll never even believe it. I got that card for like 41 bucks. It was one of the cheapest cards I've ever bought in my life. And then I looked up how much it's worth because I could barely find, I think I found one or two at the time. I was at trade night at GG Cards or Breaks actually, and it's an over $200 card when it's not encapsulated and graded and all that stuff. So I got it for like 41 bucks, but I can sell it for over 200 at least. At
Mm-hmm.
least. Some people will see Larry Bird and spend over 200, but it's kind of look at it like the Ken Griffey. I know it's not the rookie, but my Ken Griffey that I sold that for a lot of cash, and I also sold it for some cards. And it was funny because the guy made a deal with it, GG Cards and Breaks Trade Night, when we were at the Wildcat. He works at the Wildcat. Shout out to Shane. And I went over to Shane and I said, "Can we make a deal for money and cards?" And I said the cards that there's like 8 cards I was looking at. He goes, "How much money?" I gave him a number. He handed me the cash in his hand. We had not discussed what it was. It was to the dollar exactly the amount of money that I wanted for it. So he was like waiting. It was the perfect deal. So
There you go.
shout out to Shane. He has my Ken Griffey if he still kept it. But yeah, my Larry Bird stays here in the studio, Jerry. It is off to my left. It looks like my right on the screen, but it is off to my left here in my studio, and it stays with me. Unless you want it someday, Jer, then maybe we can make a deal. So with that being said, Murph, as always, I appreciate the time, appreciate you being with us. And maybe, just maybe, Murph and I will do something like this together next week in person.
Maybe it's a possibility.
All right, sir. I'll talk with you soon.
Yes, sir.
That coming from Brendan Murphy here on DT and Murphy. That starts off your wake up call week. Mondays from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. We're inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. I appreciate you being here with us Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Appreciate your patience today as as I had to buy new computers. And you heard me say computers. I had to buy 2 new computers. I had to buy a desktop and a laptop over the weekend. So I do appreciate your patience with that inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Thanks to Murph. Thanks to you. And of course, thanks for being with us. YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both / Wake Up Call DT, and on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com. Many thanks to Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, YouTube, and more for hosting our show and allowing us to be on your channels. Thank you to God for that. And thank you to these companies for welcoming us. Search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT, on any one of these outlets. Follow and subscribe so you never miss a broadcast that we upload to these channels ever again. And many thanks to our North Carolina listeners and our North Carolina visitors and the Brooklyn Pickle down in Southern Pines, North Carolina. You can go visit them on 1788 Old Morganton Road in Southern Pines, North Carolina. Today, right down the road from Pinehurst Golf Course. And many thanks to our wonderful team of partners in Central and Upstate New York. Go and support Great Lakes Honda City, Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, Canine Camp, Dog Boarding, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, pardon me, Chick-fil-A Cicero, Pizza Man, as well as Ma and Pa's, the snack capital of the world on 201 Old 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. And of course, Brian's Landing, GG Cards and Brakes, Mother's Cupboard, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Avicoli's, and we are the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Lemoyne College Dolphins, Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse, and the Binghamton University Bearcats. You'll find Lemoyne Wednesdays at 9 a.m. Eastern Time during Dolphin Time. And of course, you will find the Bobcats monthly and the Bobcat Buzz specials that we have for you. We just had a trio of them this past Friday. They're all available on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Make sure to click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find our Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse playlist. And of course, Binghamton every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. You'll find the Bearcats during Bearcat Time. You can find all of these teams by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find our Lemoyne playlist, our BSC Syracuse playlist, as well as our Binghamton playlist. Each of these wonderful exclusive multimedia marketing partners are on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage. For more information, go to LeMoyneDolphins.com, Syracuse.bscbobcats.com, and BinghamtonBearcats.com. With that being said, I want to thank Brendan Murphy once again, inside of MomPawsPopcorn.com's What's Poppin'. I want to thank you for being a part of the show inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for navigating with us. Thank you to God for the challenge. I hope I did a good job, God, and I love you so much. Jerry said, great show. Lenny and Squiggy, good fun. Appreciate you, man. Have a wonderful day. God bless. No stress. Do your best. From the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, this is Wake Up Call, and you are amazing.